When I was little, my father was famous. He was the greatest samurai in the empire.
Hey everybody, Greater Sapien here. Thanks for stopping by. I've said in the past that I have an issue with Trump and racism. Now, people here have criticized me for basically saying that I call him a racist. And rarely, I may have slipped here and there, but I don't really call him racist. And I say that, he's guilty of racism, but I don't necessarily call him racist. And people say, well, Jerry, how can you call him racist? Where has he shown that he thinks that people are inferior? Or how do you know what's in his mind, what's in his heart? How do you know what he really thinks? You can't, so you can't say that he's racist. And generally I don't. But I can say what he does, and I can talk to what he says. And a lot of that is racism or just appealing to racism. And lately, he's been doing it more and more. It seems like his campaign is intentionally appealing to the racist section of our society. It seems to be a campaign strategy. So recently he's been doing more and more that's been bringing this racist appeal to light. For example, a few weeks ago, he signed an executive order banning the use of critical race theory in federal training when it comes to discrimination and things like that. So critical race theory has the base assumption that white supremacy actually exists, and that it informs a lot of biases for people. So now there is an argument about debating that, but the fact that he is bringing it up mere weeks before an election is suspect to me, because it's always been there. This kind of training's been going on for a long time. But race has been coming up in the news now more and more, and it seems to me that it's timed to appeal to white people who feel that they're being victimized by being called racist, so he wants to appeal to them. He also said that he would defund any school that was teaching the 1619 Project using that as a tool in their American history courses. Now, the 1619 Project looks back at slavery and its basic influence on the American establishment and how America was established. And so 1619 being proposed as the true establishment of American culture as opposed to 1776. And so, again, it's talking about how racism has been a fundamental part of American foundation. And so he's had to say, no, we can't teach that, not even as a tool, and has established what he called the 1776 Commission, I think that was called, in order to, how do they put it, promote patriotic education in American schools. Now, a lot of people come at me for my science views, for being indoctrinated by science and indoctrinated by the schools, or they come at me for political views saying I've been indoctrinated by the left. But we have a president of the United States who is establishing a commission to indoctrinate children to be patriotic, to indoctrinate love of country, which is really fascist sounding. And no one else has ever done that, to my knowledge. And so it's fascinating that is something that's being given a pass by his supporters. But that isn't being done to directly contrast the conversation about slavery that's going on in schools. You don't want that. So we want to talk about American patriotism. Again, this is appealing to people who don't want to talk about race issues. So it is a racist appeal. Then there's been his appeal to suburban families that the inner city crime is going to come to them. MS-13 is going to move in next door. That the Biden administration wants to demolish the suburbs. And here's the fun part. They're going to put Cory Booker in charge of doing it. Now, Cory Booker is not part of the Trump team, the Biden team, yet for some reason they've put him as the face of destroying the suburbs, probably because he's a prominent black man. Again, racist appeal. It's not him saying anything that's overtly racist. It's just he's just appealing to those who are. And then more recently, he had a rally in Minnesota that he decided to deride just the concept of refugees. It's here.
One of the most vital issues in this election is the subject of refugees. You know it. You know it perhaps better than almost anybody. Lots of luck. You having a good time with your refugees? That's good. We want to have Omar. Yeah, he said Omar. That's a beauty. How the hell did she win the election?
Okay, so then, because of someone in the crowd, he decides he moves in to discussing Ilhan Omar. And just briefly. But then she came up again today, or maybe it was yesterday, in another rally in Pennsylvania, where he decided to talk about her as well.
Some of them. How about Omar of Minnesota? We're going to win the state of Minnesota because of her, they say. She's telling us how to run our country. How did you do where you came from? How is your country doing? They're going to tell, she's going to tell us, she's telling us how to run our country. And you know what? The Democrats in Congress, you have to see what they're doing.
Again, appealing to racism. This is a person who was an immigrant who came to this country at the age of 8, had nothing to do with the running of her country. Yet he decides to attack her saying, how did you do with the running of your country? She's trying to tell us how to run our country. He is othering her for being an immigrant. This is appealing to the racist faction of the United States. That's what he is doing. Now, is he racist? I don't know, but he sure is appealing to racists in this country. And then if you want to get into the whole concept of superiority, here he is talking about back at the Minnesota rally, talking about genes.
And they were strong. You have good genes, you know that, right? You have good genes. A lot of it's about the genes, isn't it? Don't you believe? The racehorse theory, you think was so different? You have good genes in Minnesota.
Yeah, the racehorse theory. I'm sorry, you don't get much more overt than that he believes that people have superior qualities due to their genetic background. Now, this isn't something new. He's talked about it in the past. It comes up here and there. Trump goes by the philosophy of the racehorse theory, that some people are inherently better because of their genes. And he believes that he and his family have better genes than other people. He said, he's got good genes because he's from he's got a good German background. So I may not know whether or not Trump is racist. I may not know whether or not he truly believes that some people are superior or inferior according to their race in his heart. But I do know what he says, and I do know who he's appealing to. And he's appealing to racist. He's appealing to racist people, and he's saying racist shit. And that's enough for me.
That's my job. That's what I do. I don't lose. I win. I win. Is there no one on this planet to even challenge me?